this is Michel Leviathan Sorbet, and this is a new episode of Wojennik TV. Today another unboxing of a game which will be the second installment in a very popular series, in the series Escape the Dark. The first game published in this series was Escape the Dark Castle, a game published by Themeborne Limited. In this game we were trying to escape from a dungeon, from a dark castle, and to become free again, but this wasn't easy at all. In the second installment, which I will be opening with you today, we will be trying to escape a space station, so the setting will be very different from the first game. The game is called Escape the Dark Sector, and it was published in 2020. First, a Kickstarter campaign was launched in 2019, and it was a highly successful campaign because the objective was to gather $20,000 or so, and at the end of the campaign it closed with a whopping $200,000. So quite an achievement. The game will be for 1 to 4 players. The time of play will be somewhere around 30 to 60 minutes, and the minimum age of the player will be 14 or higher, but due to the quite easy mechanics of this system, the game will be also possible to be played by younger players. Now, this is not only a re-implementation of Escape the Dark Castle, so new mechanics were added. Of course, we have a new theme, but this game is in the same franchise but different from the first, so it is quite worth taking a look at. The authors of this game are Alex Crispin, Thomas Pike and James Shelton. Let's now take a look at Escape the Dark Sector. Here is the extremely elegant and pretty box of Escape the Dark Sector from Themeborne Limited. As you can see, two things that I would like to show you, not only the game box itself and its content, but also a box containing the playing mat which is added to this game, which can be used to further enhance your playing experience. At first, let's take a look at the game itself. Now, as you can see, the box cover, very attractive. I love this black and white theme. The picture shows you a space station or a space city, maybe with a spacecraft approaching it, and with a big asteroid or planet just behind, with many stars. At the back of the box you can read about the game. You can see that this is a game for 1 to 4 players, aged 14 or higher. The time of play will be 45 minutes or so. You have also the description of the contents, of the game features, and of you can also take a look at some of the components which are inside. So let's now open the box and let's take a closer look at all those pretty components. The first element which we find in the game box is the rulebook. The rulebook is, as the game itself, black and white, but with some pretty pictures at the end. It is quite long, it is 28 pages long, but the rules for this game will not be very hard, although I have the impression that they are more complicated than it was in Escape the Dark Castle. You have a table of contents at the beginning, then a short description of the game, of the object of the game, the components which you can see during the reading of this rulebook, then how to set up the game, then also an information about how to play the game, how the story unfolds, how the game ends. Finally, the description of the item cards that you will be collecting during the game. About combat, here we have two types of combat. You have ranged combat and you have also close combat, so two types of combat in this part of the escape cycle. Then you have also some additional rounds, the flank round, and finally you have also standard combat actions and combat specials, some information about how to play the game solo, because it's a game which can very easily be played also solo. And at the end of this rulebook you can glance at some of the other Themeborne Limited products. Now in this game we receive really a lot of dice, and as you can see we have black and white dice, six-sided dice. The white ones will be used by the characters, and here we have, for instance, Lieutenant Abbott. Here we have Lieutenant Miller. Now this is funny because those names are all the same that we had in Escape the Dark Castle. The sole difference is that now they are soldiers with lieutenant's ranks. Before we had just the tailor, we had just the miller, we had just the abbot. Here we have those soldiers. So each will receive his own die. The black dice will be used for our enemies because we'll be using them during combat, if I remember correctly. But you receive not only those big-sized six-sided dice, you receive also smaller ones. As you can see, a lot of dice in this game. Again, white and black ones. The black ones will be used maybe for ranged combat, the white ones maybe for other types of combat, maybe for close combat, or maybe for other things which will happen during the game. So as you can see, a lot of dice. This is a game for people who love dice. But not only dice, because we receive also cards, and cards of two different sizes. The first ones will be the smaller ones, where we have, for instance, a player aid card, as I supposed, telling you how close combat actions or ranged combat actions look like. Then some information about the different characteristics. Some other ones which will be used to track mission. Items, for instance, a slug pistol or a ray gun or a battery cannon. Each of them with a small picture with some different stats, ammo, fire rate, and some also additional information. For instance, if you roll this symbol, the weapon will be jammed. Chrono bomb, speed stims, alien blade, stun grenade, a lot of different items. We all players love items in such games. It's great that we have a great diversity of them. The second type of cards will be the bigger ones, and those will be where the story unfolds, because turn over to begin. Now yes, this will be the beginning of the story, but then we have different cards with sectors which you can reach during the play. As you can see, each of them has a back with a location in the sector, as I believe, with some restricted cards. Those will be the bosses or the final events, as I believe. Do not read until you have completed the last chapter card. Exactly. So those will be cards. I'll show you one of them, just one. For instance, here we have some enemies, we have some events, we have some dark things, we have some bizarre encounters during the game. This will be all the story which we will live playing this game, and turning those cards, creating a deck, will be all part of the adventure. So I won't be browsing through those cards in order to not spoil anything, but keep in mind, this is where the story, where the game is. This is the core of the game. Apart from those elements, we receive also 4 pencils in order to write information about our items, or maybe about our medical record, because as you can see, we receive also this small booklet on which we'll be writing our name, our current health. And all those are the elements. These are the elements which are inside the box of Escape the Dark Sector. Now that's not all, because now I'd like to show you also the playing mat, which will be used to store cards, to store dice, and where we will be playing the game. This is a fantastic addition. Look at this playing mat. It's a playing mat on which, as I said earlier, you'll be storing epilogue cards, item cards, the discard pile, the mission deck, the draw tactical actions, flank tactical actions, and where you will be keeping your dice. Adding this element, adding this high quality player mat, this additional feature enhances really the gaming experience. I'm extremely glad that I have this. This will really make the game a lot better, and it will be also very much more pleasant to play it. Now those are all the elements which are inside the box of Escape the Dark Sector, and additionally in the box containing the playing mat. Now let's pass to a very short conclusion. I'd like to share with you my initial thoughts. Escape the Dark Sector was published in the same style, but that Escape the Dark Castle was published earlier. I like the idea, I like the fact that we receive a whole black and white product, beginning from the box cover up to all the elements which are inside. I love the playing mat. I think it's a fantastic addition which will further enhance the playing experience. Now, I said that this game as a black and white game is somewhat an old school product, and it is addressed to people who have fond memories of D&D or of products published somewhere in the 80s, 90s, because it was a time when black and white products were quite popular, where due to some limitations, some games were published using such a color scale. And I must say that looking at those elements, I like them. I really like them because I like old school games. I like minimalistic but elegant designs, and Escape the Dark Castle as well as Escape the Dark Sector are two such titles. I like the theme because when reviewing Escape the Dark Castle, I said that that game was very easy to learn, very easy to play, but at the same time, due to its theme, due to its somewhat brutal and even terrifying descriptions and pictures, it wasn't a game in which we could play with younger players. I hope that in Escape the Dark Sector it will not be the case, and even younger players will be able to enjoy it. The thing that remains unchanged is the fact that you will be throwing a lot of dice. Furthermore, you receive additional dice in this opus, so even more dice in Escape the Dark Sector than Escape the Dark Castle. Is it something bad? Well, I love dice games. I like games in which you throw a lot of dice. It's not a problem to me. For people who dislike dice, well, Escape the Dark Sector might be a problem, but never judge a book by its cover. I'll show you the game again during a future review. Up until then, I invite you to take a look at our other videos. We have some unboxings, we have also some reviews in English. If you want to become a patron of Wojennik TV, you can become one. Find the link in the description of this movie. I wish you a fantastic day and see you next time.